Hello, everyone. Just finishing up getting set, and we'll start really soon. Let's see. Hello. Just setting up on the other side of the camera here. I should get some sort of waiting music. Okay, let's check the chat. Hello, hey. 안녕하십니까. konnichiwa. Okay, there we go. Now I have the chat. I think everything is working correctly now. Yes. I believe this is all working correctly. How are you today? I'm doing pretty good. Okay, Kiket, I'll have you wait back here during the stream as usual. Let's put that down. Hey, Rowan. All right, we got Rowan, our mod. First things first, before we start the lesson today, I'm just going to announce again, we do have a Discord, which is a chat room kind of thing. It's a big chat room. Currently, there's over 300 people in there, and it's pretty active day and night. And the website it's on is on Discord, and there's a link to the chat. If I could have Rowan, or if there's another moderator here who could please link that in chat, then if you guys aren't already in there, I know a lot of you guys are already hanging out in the Discord already, but you can check it out, and there's Korean learners all the time. I hang out in there a lot, and several native Koreans hang out there. Lots of people who can answer your question, lots of people you can practice Korean with, and it's really fun. I like it so far. Yes, Rowan, thank you. Yeah, I noticed a few of you are commenting that this is your first live stream, that you made it on time. Yes. So yeah, check out the live stream. There is a link right now in the live chat. You can see it. It's the Discord link. Today we're going to be covering Korean numbers. And the thing to know about Korean numbers, so I'll just get started right away, because normally when I do these live streams, we go well over 2 hours, like 2 hours and 15 minutes or something. But this time I really would like to keep it under 2 hours. I think that it's better for when you go to watch a video after it's finished live streaming and you want to watch it for a review, and you see this video that's like 2 hours, 2.5 hours long. I think a lot of people might think, I don't know if I want to watch this. So I'm trying to keep it a little bit shorter, but we do have a lot of stuff that we could cover today. I thought about exactly what we should, I thought about exactly what we should cover versus what we simply can cover. And what I think we should cover anyways is Korean numbers, like what the numbers are, and basically how those are used. And then what I would like to also cover is counters as well, like how to use those numbers to actually count, what counters are, as well as some of the most common and essential counters. So we'll see how much stuff we can get into, but there really is a lot of stuff we could go into for this topic. So let me just check the chat for a bit. Is I late? No. Yes. So in Korean, the first thing is Korean has two number systems, actually. So in English, you would just count something like saying 1, 2, 3, right? And that's it. There's just numbers. If you say, I have one cat, if you say, I am 10 years old, it's all done with the same system, which is actually, I believe, Arabic, which this number system we use in English actually comes from Arabic. And that's the number system that pretty much every country uses, as far as most countries use just the regular Arabic numerals, as opposed to Roman numerals, which would be like 1, 2, 3. But But actually, I want to use Roman numerals as kind of an example. V1. Anyway, you probably have seen, Roman numerals. What is this? I'm like making up my own Roman numerals. You might have seen Roman numerals. So these are the regular numbers. You might have seen Roman numerals though before. Depending on your age, you might be really familiar with how they work. I know everyone learns these sometime in school. We learn how to like read the what is it? MCMXCV. I think it was like 1990 something. Or 1980. Anyway, like this is all at the end of movies. When you watch a movie, it'll say copyright, and then it might show the long Roman numerals for the year. That's a different number system, of course, as you know. Korean has two number systems that they use. So imagine for a moment that we used Roman numerals and this number system in America or in whatever country you are. Just imagine that we used both of them. Well, when do we use Roman numerals in America or other countries? Well, we typically use them for movie titles. So like movies. So, the copyright, we'll often use this system. The movie title, such as if you go see the movie like Rocky, and then you go see Rocky 2, it's not going to be called Rocky 2. More often, they'll do Rocky 2, Rocky 3. They do it with this Roman numeral system just because that's typically how it's done. And if you were to go see a movie and it says like, oh, this is the new movie, I don't know, John Wick. It might have a title that has a number, but if you're just referring to an installment or a Fast and the Furious, they might use Roman numerals, 7 like this. Or it's just kind of a style that they do. Anyway, so you can think of it like these are two different number systems, and they are different systems. They don't work the same way. Whereas here, it goes from 1 to 10, well, 1 to 9, we use separate numbers. And then after 9, we reuse these numbers in the tens place, right? So then after 9, it's 10, but 10 is actually just 1, and then 0 in the ones place, right? So this is a separate number system that we use in regular English. And this is a separate number system, which goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it goes from 1 to 4, and then it starts adding a new decimal or place, the place for the numbers, and that starts at 5. So after you get to 5, after you get to 3, you start subtracting. So it's 5 minus 1. And then as you get away from it, it'll be 5 plus 1. So 6 is actually 5, 1. I'm not going to explain how to do Roman numerals in today's lesson. I just kind of want to give you an idea, an example of how these are two different number systems that we use in English, and they work different ways, how we add them up. Well, Korea's two number systems are not this complicated. They're not this separate, I should say. They're not this different. Whereas these are completely different systems, and you have to learn like V, X, C. I believe C is like 500 or something. M is 1,000. L is 50. Anyway, there's like all these different ones you have to learn, and there's a lot. And it's really hard to read, and it starts getting really messy. Korean is not. Korea's two number systems are actually easier than it sounds. So don't let the idea of having to learn two number systems in Korea throw you off. It's a little bit of extra work to have to learn two number systems as opposed to English where you really only need one, but it's not learning a whole new number system. It's kind of learning an extension of the number system that you already will learn. So yeah, with that, let's just go right into it. We're going to first start with Sino. I learned the spelling before I learned the pronunciation. Sino-Korean. And Korean has two number systems. It has pure Korean. Let's see, let me just check the chat for a moment. I only know them from Final Fantasy. Yes, that's right. Final Fantasy uses them. Yeah, like Final Fantasy, what would that be? 14, Final Fantasy 15. I don't know how many there are now. I think there's 15 currently. Okay, so Sino-Korean and there's pure Korean. Now, what does this mean? So these are the two different number systems in Korean. Sino-Korean. This Sino part is actually a word that comes from the word China. Sino means Chinese or from China. So what this means is originally, I've said this a lot, but the Korean language borrows over 60% of its vocabulary from Chinese. So if you're learning Korean or you see any sentence in Korean, it's likely that's, or it doesn't necessarily mean that, but just out of all the Korean words that you could use, that people commonly use today, over 60% of those vocabulary words actually came straight from the Chinese language. So Korean borrowed those words due to its long history of being right next to China and doing a lot of communication, education with them. It just so happened that Korean picked up all these words. You know, they would go over and learn about Chinese law, and the Chinese law would have a word for decisions, you know, and they would learn that word, 결정. They'd be like, oh, 결정. That's a good word. You know, it would be said in the Chinese language. They would say, oh, let's say it in our Korean as close as we can with Korean sounds, and it became 결정 for decision. So that's kind of what happened, and over time, a lot of those words came over, so now it's over 60%. The exact number is not really known because we don't really know how many exactly words are used in Korean, but it's over 60%. So that included numbers. So these numbers are, I'll just give you the first two, 1, 2, 3, for 1, 2, 3. These numbers are actually not originally from Korea. These are Korean pronunciation of Chinese words, and they came over to Korea a long time ago. So their sounds won't be exactly like Chinese today. I believe it's like sa, or something like that. I learned Chinese for a long time ago. I think it was sa. But these came from originally Chinese. So it's not that they just so happen to sound similar. It's not a coincidence. These were actually Chinese characters that were simply read, you know, kind of like someone might say, 사랑해요, I love you. It's kind of like that. It got brought over into Korean and read by Korean people to the best of their abilities, and they entered into the vocabulary, and that is Sino-Korean number system. And it's used all over the place in Korea. And this is the first one we're going to be learning. Probably a mix of all 7 Chinese dialects. No, it would have been from wherever was dealing the most with education in China, but I'm not sure what area that would have been, whether that would have been like from Yuan dynasty or like the Qing dynasty before or something. I'm not exactly sure which dynasty it would have been brought over during, but it would have been the major language at that time, which was nothing like Chinese today. Modern Chinese is not like Old Chinese. In fact, it might even be closer to Cantonese today than it would be to Mandarin. But anyway, so let's learn the first 10 numbers in Sino-Korean. And this Sino-Korean system isn't too different from the system that we use in English. It works also on a 10-digit scale. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then there is in this case, there is a 10. It doesn't reuse 1 and 0, but after that, it goes in the same fashion. So 11 is actually 10, 1. 12 is 10, 2. 20 is 2, 10. So it's actually easier than it is to count in English once you know these numbers. So we're just going to learn from 1 to 10, which is 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 first. 2. I'll try to go fast because I know some of you guys already know this. And it's not my objective to get you guys mastered, to make sure that you master these numbers, because they just take time. I should write it like this. They just take time to practice. So I'm not going to be able to do so many reviews until you know these like the back of your hand. It'll just take time for practicing. But if you already know them, I apologize. I'm going to give a quick rundown again. If you don't know them, feel free to write them down. Pause the video later when you're doing the live stream. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So like I said, I'm not going to be going over these individually because you can find them anywhere on the internet and you can learn them in your own time. So, but that's okay. At least I'll give you a quick rundown. So in order to make larger numbers beyond 10, you don't have to learn one number for every single different number. So you might think, oh, I have to learn a new number, a new word for every single number. Well, in English you do. In English you have to learn 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. You have to learn these new, you have to learn the 10s, the 20s, the 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. And then you do have to kind of do a lot for the English system. But for the Sino-Korean system, you don't. It's quite simple. You just learn 1 to 10, and 1 to 10 can get you all the way up to 100. So I'll show you how to do that. To take a number beyond 10, you look at the tens place. So right now, this 10 is useful because we can use it now as a place. So the tens place, just like in English, you can have the number 12, or you can have 56 or whatever. This number here, either 1 in 12 or 5 in 56, is the tens place of the number you're looking at. So if you wanted to say 12, the tens place of 12 is 10. So you have 10, it's just a 10, and then a 2, which is 2. 10, 12. You don't have to say 1. You don't have to say how many of that 10 there is if it's 1. And this is important. I'll show you why that's important. For another number, 56, we look at the tens place, right? The tens place is 5. So we need 5 tens, which is 5, 10, and then 6. So 5, 10, 6 is 56. 56. This is pretty much how it works all the way until 100. I could keep going on and on about how to do this, but I'll take a quick break and let's see, I'm lost. I have no clue what's going on. Space Toast, you might need to learn the Korean alphabet first. I have a video about that on my channel you can check out. If you don't know the Korean alphabet, you will not be able to learn numbers. Don't forget 0. Yes, Alma, 0 is actually young. You don't need to use 0. You don't need to use 0 at all for counting. So if there's a 0 in the number, like 560 or something, you don't use young ever. It's only when there's nothing of anything. That's why I'm not teaching it here. Young means 0 in Sino-Korean, but you do not ever use it for counting unless you just have 0. Only if you have 0 of something. So 56 would be 56. 12, as I said before, since 12 is just a 1 in the tens place, anytime it's a 1 in any of the places, like tens place or 100 place or 1000s place, anytime it's just a 1, you don't say 1, 10, 2, you would just say 10, 2. But anytime it's other than a 1, so here you have 5. So it's 5, 10, 6. So I'm going to go look at the chat for a little bit. I'd like you guys to tell me, how would I write these numbers? I'm going to write them, I think you can see if I write it here. So 33, 60, and 14. So I want you to write these numbers in Korean, how you would say them in Sino-Korean numbers. I'm just going to check to make sure the stream's working properly. 1 second. Oh, nice. I'd like you guys to try this out on your own. I know that I'm not giving a detailed explanation of this. The reason is I would like to cover more than just the numbers today. And if you've never seen these numbers before in your entire life, I apologize. I would recommend that you watch this live stream later after first watching my other regular video on Korean numbers. I have a video about Korean numbers on my channel. I'd recommend checking that one out first, which goes a little bit more slowly into how you can count, and then watching this. But if we only did practice with Korean numbers today, it would just be a 2-hour lesson about Korean numbers. And that wouldn't really be fair for majority of people who already know these. Tsubaki, yeah, you wrote that Kong also means Kong, but that's not Sino-Korean. So we're only doing Sino-Korean. Yes, I can see. Yes, sam. That's right. Yep. So the correct answer is sam. So we have 33. So look at. Sorry, I saw the chat. Okay, we should be back. Thank you. Yes, I saw the F's pop up and I'm like, oh, so I got it. Okay. In order to do it, you first look at, well, what's the first place that I can see? What's the first place of something that I can see? Well, there's a tens place here. So the tens place in the first one, 33, is 3. So we need 3 tens. 3, 3, 10, 10. And then the next place is the ones place. So we just use another 3. 3, 3, 10. For 60, we look at the tens place, which is a 6. So we go 6. And now we have 10, so 6 tens, 60. Then we look at the next place, there's a 0, there's nothing. We don't add young, which is why I wasn't actually even going to teach it. 60, which means 6 tens, and we're done, 60. 14, we look here and we have a 1, so we have a 10, which is just 10. Like I said before, we don't add 1 if the number is just a 1. If it's just the name of that place, if it's just a 10 or something, we just add that 10 by itself. So 10, the next number 4, 4, 14, and we're done. Okay, this was just a really quick review of how to do numbers in general, but that's not the only thing we're going to do. So I want to go in a little bit more into this. So we're still in the Sino-Korean system, and there's more than just 10. So we learned that this is the counter for 10. There's also a counter that we can go higher with that. So of course you're going to be counting more than 100 numbers, but how would you say something like 103, right? Well, I've seen some people do this before. They say, oh, let's see, the tens place, it has a 10 here, right? There's a tens here, so that's 10, 10. They go ship, 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 some. I've seen people do this before. It's really funny. Because it's wrong, but it's really funny. It's not, you cannot go 10 tens. You cannot repeat a counter. As soon as you would have to repeat a counter, such as 10, you need to go to the next counter. And the next counter after 10 is this number times itself. This number times itself will get you the next counter. So the next counter after ship is peg, which is 100. So now that we have pek, we can do a number that's higher than simply 10. Oh, Ameriliz, I can't pronounce it correctly. Ameriliz. Nice, welcome to the fan club. Nice, now I have 20 members now. You are my 20th member in the community for YouTube, which is great. So now it'll let me add some more emotes to the chat as well. That's great, thank you, welcome. Okay. Oh, nice. Gigasloth too. I got 2 members right on a it's just the join button, and it's not a requirement to watch these streams. All these live streams will be free forever, but members help support it because believe it or not, I do spend a lot of money on buying equipment for making videos and for the stream. That's just my own money. So I really appreciate assistance, but I'm not going to ever charge for what I do. So thank you, both of you guys. Okay, so now we have 100 and we can do larger numbers. So in order to do this, we go to, what's the first digit after here? Well, the first one is, you can see it's 10. Well, 10, there's 10 tens and 3. The first one is now 100. So we can say 100 pek. And now we go down. So now we go back down the list. The next number is 0. Well, we already have 100, so we don't need it. The next number is actually just 3. So 3. Pek 3. 103. And that's all we have to do to count beyond 99. Now we can go from 100 all the way until 1,000. So I'm going to give you a few more examples, and then I'm going to ask you guys some questions. So let's do this again. Oh, and again, so we had 103. It's not ilbek, it's not 100, it's just 100, 103. Let's do something 200, let's do 213. So another 3 there, I like number 3, I guess. So 213, again, we see that we have 200s here, so we're gonna need something in the 200 place. We have 2 of them. So E, which is 2, pek, which is 100, And then so now we're done. Now we have 200. Now we have to deal with this 13. How do we say 13? Really easy. 10, again for 10. 3. So we don't have to do any crazy math or any special numbers for this. It's just simple math. We just take the largest set of something that we have and we add it to the smaller set of whatever we have. Okay, so then we get 213, which is 213. Let's do one more. Let's do 670. Let's do 670. So we have 670. So again, we have 600s. So 6, 100. Then we have the next part is 70. So just like before, 7, 10. And then there's nothing else here, so it's just 70. So 600s and 7 tens. That's how Korean is broken up. We have the larger units are grouped together, 600s and 7 tens makes 670. Again, this will only allow us to count until up to 1,000 almost. But when we get to 1,000, there's a different number that we have to use. So 100 times 10, we get 1,000 now, which is 1,000. We have 1,000, which is 1,000. So if you've ever bought anything in Korea or heard about Korean prices, you probably see something like, that's like 1,000won, like 5,000won, 5,001 or something. This 1,000 is used all of the time with money because of how Korean exchange rates work. And we'll talk about that next after we finish the numbers. So we have 1,000, which is 1,000. Oh, and I'm letting you know in advance, the second number system, we won't have to worry about all this crazy stuff. The second number system will be easier than this. So don't stress and think you're going to have to learn this twice. You only have to learn it once. The second system is easier. So 1,000 is 1,000. So now we can go up to all the way up till 10,000 almost using 10 for 10, 100 for 100, and 1,000 for 1,000. And I'm going to give you a few more examples, and then I'm going to ask you guys to practice here. So let's do 5,000. 5,000. To make that, we don't have anything else to worry about here. We only have here, which is 5. Oh. Now we have 1,000. 1,000. 5,000. 5,000. And that's it. If you wanted to instead say, what about, I want to say 503. 503. Well, you have 5,000. Nothing here. Nothing here. 3. All right. What if you said, oh, I want to say 5,000 and 5,042, right? Well, now we have 5,000, nothing here. 42. 42. So we 5,000 and then 42. That's it. If we want to go a little bit further, so now I say, oh, I don't want 5,042. I actually want 5,842, right? We want a really complicated number. In fact, yeah, let's do 5,842. So we still have 5,000 first. The next set after that, well, we're left with 842. Well, how do we say 800? We say 8, 8, and then 100, 100. Okay, so now we have 800. Now how do we say 42? 4. So we have 40, which is 40. And now 2, 2. 5,842. And this seems like it would be really complicated because you have to learn all of these new numbers and all these new things. But the way that it comes together is very consistent, very simple. Oh, awesome. A new member, Marco. Oh no, that's a terrible last name. I hope that's not your real last name. Welcome, Marco. Thanks. Thanks. I really appreciate it. You get some access to emotes, and you also get access to a special badge. I believe you get a little Billy hat by your head for first month members. Thanks. So we can do this to make numbers now all the way up until 10,000. So all the way up until our next digit. So we can go all the way to 9,999 just using 10, 100, 1,000. These three. Okay, before I go any further, because there is 2 more I want to teach you. Before we go any further, I would like to give you guys some examples. So that's not my last name. Thank you. I'm glad. So I want to give you guys some examples, and I want you to try to write them out in Korean. I'll give you 3 numbers. Not 1, 2, 3. The numbers I'm going to give you are here. So first is, let's do 830. Okay. 7,101. Okay, I'm doing these on purpose. These are not super easy. They'll take a little bit of, you'll have to remember the things that I've taught already in order to make these. And then the last one will be 1,699. Okay, I want you to try to make these numbers. I know they're going to be longer. You'll lose the cool hat emoji. Yes, after the month, your cool hat emoji will transfer into a Keycat bear emoji. And then if you stay with it, there's another emoji after that. But it hasn't gotten that far yet because I only opened up the memberships a couple months ago. I don't think anyone has the emoticon after that. How do you become a member? It's the button that says join on the channel. There's like a box below. And like I said, it's not a requirement. It's just something that supports me. I'll do these streams for free anyway. So 830, 7,101, and 1,699. I know these are long, so take your time. Andreas, you're missing a counter for this one, for number 1. Let's see, 830, 7,101일, 1,060, Eli Kimbrell, you're so close on the last one. You're so close on the last one. Check it again. 830, 830, 830, 830. I think most of you got this one. You guys are good with this. 830, 800, so 800s, 3, 10, 10. So 800s and 3 10s. Space Toast, no, those are not the right number system. 830. Connor Thacker, thanks. 7,011. 7,011. Nope. Someone wrote 7,011. BTS Army. You have the wrong counter for 100. You wrote ship, which is 10. 830. 7,000. Gigasloth. Remember what I said about using the number 1 when it comes in front of one of these counters? Like when it comes before 10 or 100 or 1,000. Remember what I said? Don't use il. Don't use 1 before that. Because just using this in the first place means 10. It means that one of those. 1,690. Andrew, no, that it would not be correct. You're missing the counter for the hundreds place. Space Ghost, you guessed with the completely incorrect number system. 830, 830, 7,000. Nor's KSA. Also, remember what I said. Anytime you have a counter, like 1,000, 100, 10, if it's only one of those, so such as 7,101, you do not say 1 before that counter. You simply use 100 by itself, or 10 or 1,000 by itself. You do not need to emphasize 1 of that. It's completely unnecessary. It also sounds wrong by using a 1 before it. 7,000. Zilly also. Sorry, if I yeah, I see Zilly saying, dang it. Yeah. Yeah, if I call you out on making a mistake, I'm really just trying to fix it for you. I'm really just trying to help you with it. So if don't worry about it. I mean, you don't have to feel like bad if I call you out on a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. I made a million mistakes and I still make mistakes. My bear, key cat, like key, like a key. Key cat, not Kit Kat. It's different. Key cat. I saw key cat sounds really cute, so it's okay. We all need help, Zilly. 7,100. Okay. Kevin Faulting, you're really close, but you wrote the wrong counter for 1,000. You wrote cheer, which means 7. The rest of it is okay. I think it's just a typo. 1699. Tanny. Nice, Tanny E, you got it right. Okay, so I'm going to go over these again. So first is 830, which is 800. So 8 100. So now we have 800, and then 30, which is 3 tens. So 30. For 7,101, we have 7 thousands, which is 7 for 7, 1000, which is 1,000. Now we have 101. 100 is just 100. Remember, it's not 100, it's just 100. 7100, and then the next thing is nothing here, and then 1. 1. So 7101 for 7,101. The next one, 1,699, we have 1,000 here, which is just 1000. Remember, 1000, not 1000, just 1000. 600, so 600, 600s, and then 99, so 99, which is, so we have 9 nines, which is 90 means 9 nines, and then 9. 99. So 1699. 1,699. And don't worry, we'll do some more practice with this later. And you don't have to be a master of it. If this is your first time kind of learning the like if you've learned the numbers a little bit, but you've never really gone into how to count, and you get these wrong, that's exactly what should happen. If you got these right your first time after learning it with me for just a few minutes, I would either be a genius teacher or you would be a genius learner, and probably neither. So don't feel bad if you mess this up. It just will take practice. And numbers were actually one of the hardest things for me when I was learning. Like one of the hardest things I'd say, I shouldn't say hardest, I should say longest to get good at. I spent a long time before I could really even hear the numbers correctly. They just sounded like garbage to my ears, like all these numbers just flying out, like I had no clue how to understand them. And it took years of practice for me before I got really familiar with it so that I could understand them fast and make them fast. So if you can only make them slowly, you're okay. If you can only make them slowly, you'll be okay. You don't need to do fast Korean numbers unless you're already fluent at Korean. It's something that you'll get better at as you get fluent. It's not something you have to really stress about separately. So just focus on learning the basics and become familiar with them, but don't kick yourself if you don't have them mastered. You'll learn that. You'll get better at that. Despite being a basic concept, this is also a tricky concept. So now we have 10, 100, 1000. There's one more that's super, super common, which is man. Man is 10,000. And man is 10,000, so that's right after 1,000. So if we have man, we can use man to say any number all the way up until 99,999,999. So using man, we can get almost up to 100 million. So that's big enough for most things. It's not big enough for counting, say, your yearly salary in Korea, but it would be good enough, or buying a house, but it would be good enough for pretty much everything else besides that, just going up to man. So we can use this, so 10,000, and it works in the exact same way as our other counters. If it's only 10,000, you don't say 1만, it's just man. If you have 30,000, it's 3만. So we can say something like 32,111. Okay, so let's make this number together. We have 32,000. Well, we have right now, we know we're going to need man because our number is our number is over 10,000 or equal to 10,000. So we have, how many 10,000s do we have? We have 3. 3만. So now we have 3 10,000s. And what are we left with? Well, we're left with 2,111, which is a number we already could do before learning man. So 2,000, 2,000, 100, 100, 11, which is 10, 1, 11. So 32,111. 32,111. 32,111. The tricky part, I think, about Korean numbers is where this starts, because up until now, you're familiar with saying hundreds place, thousands place, tens place. But in Korean, in English, we don't really say that's 3 10,000s. We would just say 10,000 and then 100,000, right? After 10,000, we would go to 100,000, and then we go to millions, and then 10 millions, and 100 millions, right? So in English, we go one decimal place at a time. Tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, 10 millions, right? Korean does not do that. This is what trips people up, is as soon as you go above this place, as soon as you go above the 10,000s place. That is because in order to count higher than 10,000, there is not a 100,000th place in Korean, and there is not a 1 million, and there's not even a 10 million. There are no counters for these. There is a counter for 100 million, which I'm not going to teach you. I'm just going to tell you, and if you're curious, the counter for 100 million is ok, and it's used a lot in Korea too, but we're not going to be covering this today. You can just write that down for later. So in Korean, to say 100,000, I'm letting you know we do not have a counter. I say we, Koreans, do not have a counter for 100,000 or for a million. So I'm going to ask you guys, what would you guess that you could do to make 100,000 or a million? What would you guess? Just write in the chat. Oh, Jessica Hernandez. Welcome. Awesome. Thanks for the membership. That's great, you guys. I've gotten 4 members today. This is amazing. I don't think I got 4 members in any of the last streams. I think I got like 1 or 2. This is awesome. Thank you, Jessica. Welcome to the club. Also, if you're in the Discord chat, make sure to message me and I can give you the members chat room access, which I post some early stuff and I get feedback there. It's pretty cool. Abby. Oh yeah, Abby got it. Shubin got it. Andreas, you got it. You guys, I think you guys have got the idea. Yes, that's exactly right. You work off of this. So what is this number in relation to this? Well, this number is 10 thousands. So 10만, which is pronounced as 10만 due to sound change rules. I should do a live stream about sound change rules someday, but it's not going to be today. But that would be another topic. So anyway, 10만, it's said quickly. And then this one would be, well, see, you can see this one's 10 of 10,000s. Well, then how many 10,000s is this? Well, this is 100. So 100만. 백, written as 백만, pronounced as 100만. And then how many 10,000s is 10 million? Well, it's 1,000 10,000. So 1,000만. So then what would 100 million be? Well, 100 million would be 10,000 of 10,000. But like I said, Koreans don't do 10 10 for 100. They don't do pek 100 or anything like that. They don't duplicate it. So in this case, they have a different counter complete, which was called ok, but we're not going to go into ok. And then there's another one beyond that for, I believe it's like trillion, or I can't remember, over billions. And we're not going to go in that one either. I think it's 100 billion or 10 billion. So 만, 10만, 100만, 1000만. And I'm not going to have you guys have to make numbers for this, but I would like to give you one. I would like to demonstrate one number for you guys, just so that you can kind of see where I'm coming from. So the number I want to do for you today is 99,999,999, which is as high as possible using these numbers that we've learned without using ok, because like I said, that just gets really high, and some of you guys are beginners and I don't want you to be turned off by all of this. But this is something, believe it or not, this is something we can do all together. So first of all, the largest unit we're working with is, we see there, it only goes up to here. The largest unit we're working with is 10,000, okay? So how many 10,000s do we have? Well, we have 9,999 10,000s, right? So we need to say 9,999, and then we're going to stick this counter 10,000 on the end. Easy, right? So how do we say 9,000? 999. Well, we start with 9, obviously. 9,000, 9,000. Now the next thing we're left with is 999. So how do we say 900? 9. Need more space here. 100. So now we're left with 99, 9, 10. And then now we have, that's our 10,000s place. So man. So right now we've gotten down to here. 9,999 10,000s. So 9,999 990만. Oh, sorry, I'm missing the 9 here because it's 99, not just 90. 99만. Okay, now what is left? 9,999. So we already got down to here. Now we just need to say 9,999, which is again exactly the same thing. 9,000, once more. 900. Sorry, this messed up here. I messed up here. 99. So 9,999만 9,999. I can't even say that. Oh my gosh, it's hard to say. Please don't verify. I wrote it down here too. 9,999만 9,999. Yes. So it's a crazy number. Oh, 52 bunker. Hey, awesome. This is 5 members in one day. Oh, Hans Dampf. Yes, don't worry. I will explain the other counting system and when they use each of them. Yes, thanks. 52 bunker. Welcome to the club. Also, if you're in the chat room, send me a message when you see me and I will add your special membership ability in there. So you get some special features also in the chat room. Thanks again to all of you guys. 5 of you today. It's great. Okay, so this, you can do any gigantic number you might ever imagine all the way up to 100 million using man. In fact, you don't even have to remember 10만, 100만, 1000만. You can just know man is the highest until, man's the highest unique counter until 100 million. That's all you have to know. That's all you have to learn. Just this is the highest counter you have to learn until you get to 100 million. So you don't actually have to memorize. It's 10 of 10,000, 110,000. Just that's how it would come out if you need to use it. So I'm going to give you guys some questions. I'm not going to go up to 999,000 or anything like that. But I would like to do some slightly larger numbers. So here's 3 more for you guys to practice. Actually, let me just do 2 more. So 82,700 and 100,150. 82,700 and 100,150. So take your time. I'll give you a few minutes to write these out. Captain Magic. Captain Magic. You are truly magical. Amber Alert F. Go Billy EXE, bro. Okay, we're back. We're back. Anyway, thank you guys again. That's great. Welcome to the membership. Okay, 82,700. Yes. Nice. 슈쇼테. 82,700. BTS Army. No, remember that you need to have you need to have the counter. So here's a counter for 10,000. Here's a counter for 1,000. Here's a counter for 100. If necessary, here's a counter for tens and then the last digit. So always look at the individual numbers and think, how far do I need to go? Like how many? For this one, I'm not going to tell you the answer yet, but for this one, we have 10 of 10,000s and then 0 thousands, 100, 5 tens, and then nothing at the end. So make sure you include every counter in there. Oh yes, can you please post oh yes, Zilly, thank you. That was really fast. I couldn't even ask you to post it before you already posted it. Yes, some week I would do a sound change rule stream, but that's a very long topic. 10만 150. 10만 150. Nice. For fresh avocado. Jill, you're the 6th member today. Jill, welcome. Welcome to the membership, Jill. I really appreciate it. If I hear Jill, it makes me think about, what is it? I think it's Resident Evil that has a character named Jill. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, welcome. I really appreciate that. So let's go over these. So we have 82,000, which is, in English, we'd say 82,000. But remember, in Korean, they don't use just thousands. They also have a 10,000. So 8 10,000, 2,000s. So 8 10,000 is 8만. Then we have 2,000 left over, so 2,000, followed by 700, 7, 100, and nothing after that. We don't have to say 0, 0 or anything. It's just 700 straight. The next one, 100,000 in English, we'd say 100,000, but in Korean they say 10 thousands. So 10만. Then for 150, remember it's just 100. It's not 100 in Korean. It's just 100. So 100. And then 50 is 5 tens. So 50. And some of you I saw got this correct. If you didn't, again, don't worry. Don't stress yourself out. There's actually a lot more to Korean number. It's not as super simple as it should be. It does take some practice to get good at these because the numbers don't work like English. So keep practicing though. You can get it. It just takes a lot of time. For me, it took extra time for me. I guess I'm just bad with numbers, so it took me a lot longer than I think other people, my other friends I knew got numbers pretty fast, and I was really slow. Okay, so I've been covering just these for a long time, and I really don't, it should be okay though, because this whole page is it's all on one page for today's live stream. Oh, and for all of the Patreon users, this will also go up on Patreon right after the live stream, this outline. So when do you use these numbers? So we could stay talking about how to make numbers forever, but I'd like to go on to when do we use them. So Sino-Korean, when do you use this number system? You use it for general numbers. Like if you just want to say the number of something, for example, number of something. Like, oh, I am number 3. Or what number are you? Well, I'm number 7. You know, like a sports player. Or what number in line are you? They would just say the number followed by 번. 번. So if you want to say, is this the number 3 bus? You would say, well, you would write 3, but you would say 3. So just 3. 3번. Means number 3. Number 10,000, exactly just however you want to use it. So you can say the number of something by using 번. And this is also just used in general. Whenever you just want to count, like you're saying, oh, let me just show you, these are the numbers in Korean. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. If you're just counting out loud, they often will just use this as a general number. They'll just use Sino-Korean. There's an exception for when you're counting for taking a photo. We'll learn about that later. Also, any sort of general numbers. So that includes a phone number, someone's phone number, an address, the number of a floor, which is done with the number and then the word 층. 층 means a floor. So if you wanted to say, this is the first floor, you would say 1층, 1층. Or the second floor, 2층. Fifth floor, 5층. I was like 3, 4, 5층. So you would just do it like that. If you 만층, if you have 10,000 floors in your like dystopian mega building. So this is the general number system that's used for most things in Korean, I would say, with exceptions. And any sort of just general number, like I just want to know, how do I say 6 in Korean? Well, it's 6. They would say it with this number system. Also, so I'm going to erase this because I want some more space. Other things you'll use the Sino-Korean number system for are money. This doesn't only include Korean money, which is 1. At the time of this video, it's about 1,131 for $1. For $1 US. It changes every day though, like every hour it changes. But it's about 1,000 or so. So 1 is the Korean money, but also for if you're using for currency in another country, like dollars, you could say 달러, or you can say 불. Either one. 달러 is kind of like an English word in Korean, and 불 would be just a Korean word for US dollars. And you would use that with money. So you want to say, I have $5. Well, you would say, $5. Just like that. Mojerikin. Mojerikin, welcome. Thanks. Thanks for joining up as a member. You're my 7th member today. Lucky number 7. Really appreciate it. Make sure to check out, there are some member-only posts I do in the community. There's a member-only chat room in the Discord. And then also check out the Patreon if you're already. For those ones all get, my glare is too powerful. Is there a glare? Hopefully there's not a glare. I don't see a glare. There's a light glare from here. I can kind of get rid of that. Okay. Yeah, Mojarkin, thank you. A pound. What is pound? What is pound? I actually don't know because I don't know anything about like the English terms for that. I think it would be pound. I'm gonna guess pound. I'm not sure, but I think it's pound. So that would be the same thing. 10 pound, 10 pounds, 5 pound. Oh, you gave them a glare. Okay. I thought there was like a glare on my screen. A pound of what? Yes, exactly. 아래층. That's right, Gigasloth. 위층, upper floor. Okay, so anything that's money. I'm just going to leave one here for money so you can think. So any sort of money, any sort of measuring. Any sort of measuring will go in here too. That includes like meters, so which they say 미터. That includes temperature, which is 도. 도 means degrees. And in Korea and everywhere else, they use Celsius. Only America, as far as I know, uses Fahrenheit. So Celsius, if you don't know Celsius, I'm not going to teach it here, but you should learn it. You should definitely know it because Korean only uses Celsius. They don't know Fahrenheit. Oh, Tanny E. Awesome. Tanny E, you're my 8th member today. 8. I can't believe I'm saying that. I got 8 members today. This is ridiculous. If I got 8 members every time I streamed, I would do a live stream every single day. Because I would be able to buy all the equipment that I want for videos. I swear I have like the longest Amazon wish list of like equipment and stuff like cameras and stuff like that for video making. Thanks. I really appreciate it, Tanny. Everyone should know metric. Yes, for Korean, you have to use metric. So like kilometers, they just say kilo. Kilometers is for kilometers or for kilograms. They say kilo or kilo. And that's also done. Anyway, thank you again, Tanny. That's also done with this. Even if you're going to say miles, mile. If you want to say 1,000, like I would walk 1,000 miles, they would say 천 mile. Or is it I would walk 500? Oh, it's 500 miles. So you'd have to be 500 mile. Kilo, yeah, well, kilo, they would use it for kilometers or for kilograms. They use it for any sort of kilo, 1,000 of any unit. That's just how it's kind of used in Korea. Yes, no problem, Tanny. Thanks, I really appreciate it. So yes, this would be for any sort of measurement. I'm going to leave meter and degrees because those are really common. Also, for any sort of date. Any date. So this includes days. I'll do it in the Korean order, which is year, month, and day. Now, I say month. You might think month, number, month. In Korean, they number their months from 1 to 12. So it's super easy. You do not have to learn all of the names of the months of the year, like January, February, March. I want to be a member, but I don't know how. It's the button on my channel right below this video that says join. That's what it is. It works kind of like Twitch does, where you support people monthly, and then you get like benefits from that. So in Korea, they number the months from 1 to 12. So January is just 1. So that's the first month. So it's 일, 월. February is 2. So 2월, and so on. There are some exceptions. I know I'm not teaching really about this specifically today, but I do want to say that 6 for June is 유월. It's not 6. And 10 is 10월. It's not 10. These are the only exceptions you have to learn. So June and October. So this month right now, we're in October right now. So it's 10월. 10월, not 10월. 10월 would sound really strange. All right, so these are the only exceptions. Other than that, years are just done exactly like the number system we learned. So this is why it's really important to be familiar with at least up to 10,000, because if you wanted to say the year is 2018, right? Well, how would you say 2018 in Korean? You would say 2000 first, 2000. I hope you guys can see this okay. If not, I'll switch to another marker. So 2000 for 2000, and then 10, 8. So 18. 2018년. Year at the end. So that's how you say the year. The date, this would be 10월. We're in October. And today is the 7th. So 7일. And that's it. So now you can say the full date of the year. Also, let's see, how am I on space? Do I have room to write down? Okay, I have a little more space here. Also for the time, but specifically for when you're telling time, you're gonna need another system. But for minutes and seconds. But let's just talk about minutes. Minutes is 분. I know this is at the very bottom of the screen, so let me try to rewrite this a little nicer. Minutes is 분. Seconds, if you really want to know seconds, you don't have to learn this though, but it's 초. I know this is probably like barely on your screen or maybe even off your screen. It's like barely on it. Okay, I write it a little higher. 초. If you really want to know, seconds is 초, but you won't need to say seconds very often just because it's not, you don't need to tell someone like, hey, what time is it? Oh, it's right now it's 3 o'clock and 18 seconds. So you don't need to say that. So it's not necessary. So just 분 is okay, 분. So if you want to say 10 minutes, 10분. 30 minutes is 3 tens, so 30분. 30분 is 30 minutes. Hours, however, I'm going to erase this now. We're going to go on to the next number system, finally. So we spent 1 hour on Sino-Korean. Hopefully we can do a little faster with pure Korean. Pure Korean is actually easier. Pure Korean numbers are actually easier. Let me switch pens. This one's getting a little dead. Pure Korean, you'll need to know pure Korean numbers in order to say the hour. So in order to say 3 o'clock in pure Korean, even though you can say minutes with 분, with Sino-Korean. So the reason there are two systems is, like I said, originally Korean took 60% of its vocabulary from Chinese. This isn't like they stole it or something like that. It's every language borrows vocabulary from other countries. English borrows so many words from Latin, even though English is not a Latin language. So that's all that happened. Korea, though, already had its own numbers. Just the Sino-Korean ones were used so much between official documents. You know, if they wrote the date on something, that would only be an official document, so it would be written in Chinese because people doing dealings with the government would have to learn Chinese. Pure Korean was already in Korea, and those are still around, but they weren't used as much, and as such, you don't have to learn as much about Korean numbers, pure Korean numbers, as you do about Sino-Korean. So for Sino-Korean, we had to learn like 100,000, 10,000, you know, even maybe 100 million. And pure Korean, you only need to learn 1 until 10, and then the number for 20 and 30. I'll say that. You can learn beyond that, but most often, Koreans, once they get above the number 39 or maybe 49, they don't use pure Korean numbers anymore. For anything, no matter what the purpose is, no matter what you're counting, as soon as that number goes above 39 or maybe 49, depending on the person, they'll just give up and switch back to Sino-Korean numbers for counting. So these, you don't have to learn very much. You don't have to even learn the number for 100 at all. So let's go over what those are. So the number for 1 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 하나 for 1. 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱, 여덟. Notice this one's called this one's 여덟, not 여덟. Although the P up is there, they don't pronounce the P up. So just something you can note. 아홉, And then 열. Okay, there's a really dumb story that I want to tell you guys that I've never shared with anyone because it's so embarrassing. But back when I was learning Korean, I had a few friends who were also learning Korean. And one of these friends, she heard a story from another person who had heard a story from another person. So this story has been passed down from a few generations of Korean learners, and I don't know where it came from. But I asked the person who told me this story, and she said she doesn't know where they got it from either. So no one knows where this story came from, and it's really dumb, but I'm going to share it with you because it stuck with me. I only heard it once, and I still remember it. So to remember these numbers, there's a volleyball player, and her name was Hana. Hana, the volleyball player, and she was really good. She was so good at playing volleyball that they called her Hana the Tool. Hana the Tool, okay? Tool. So one day she's playing volleyball, and she throws the ball up. So she says, all right, set. You know, they say set in volleyball, I think. So set. And she hit the volleyball really hard. And the volleyball went and it flew right into the net. So then she's disappointed. But the ball goes back to so the ball goes back to her. They keep playing. The ball goes back to Hannah again. And Hannah gets it. And her friend throws it to Hannah. And Hannah jumps up and hits the ball again. You know, they're playing. The ball flies back to Hannah. And her teammate shouts out, Hannah, toss it. Toss up. Something else happens. The ball, she hits the ball. It flies over the net again. And so now Hannah tells the other teammate, okay, you set, like you do the setting. Yosot. And the other team starts playing. And they hit the ball back and the blah, blah, blah. Ball goes back to Hannah again. So Hannah's like really angry that her ball hit the net. After she did a set, the ball hit the net. And then she had to toss it again. And then you set it, Yosot. So she gets really mad and she jumps up and hits the ball as hard as she can. And the ball flies into her the other teammate's mouth. And the ball flies in her teammate's mouth and she swallows it. She goes, you gulp. She swallows the ball. And then the other teammate's really angry at her. She's like, Hannah, you dope. She says, yo dope. You dope. I hope. You lose. I hope you lose. You lose. So this is really dumb, but the story stuck with me for my entire 13 years or so of learning Korean. So the player Hana, she's the tool. She sets the ball. It hits the net. They toss it, and then you sut, and then gulp, you'll gulp, and then you dope, yo do. I hope, you lose, yo. So there you go. Those are all the Korean numbers from 1 to 10. I hope that this helps some of you remember them. It's really embarrassing, but yeah, it stuck with me forever. And there's no better way to tell it, unfortunately. It's just messed up like that. So fortunately for Pure Korean, you only need to know the numbers 1 to 10, as well as a couple more we'll talk about, but it's pretty easy. So to make the numbers, I actually want to write them again really small. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱. Oh no, I'm out of space. 여덟, 아홉, 열. Okay, so if we want to say any number beyond 10 using pure Korean numbers, well, this way works exactly the same as Sino-Korean numbers. So we say 10. So like if we want to say the number 11, well, we have 10, 열. We don't need to say 하나 열, 1, 10. It's the exact same thing. 10, and then 하나, 열 하나. Now we have 11. If you want to say the number 15, it's just 10, 5, 열 다섯. Okay, we can do this up to 19. So here's where Pure Korean differs from Sino-Korean. Where Sino-Korean, you go 10, 100, 1000. Pure Korean, you go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, You go every 10, it changes all the way up to 99. Now, I said you don't need to learn beyond 99. You don't. The word for 100 in pure Korean is on, and I recommend you do not even learn this because Koreans don't know this. It is so, I'm trying to make it clear that you do not ever need any number beyond 99. Even if you want to show off, it's like, oh, I know the Korean number for 100. They won't know what you're talking about because it's dead. It's considered completely dead, archaic Korean at this point, and it's not even something people would know. Old people wouldn't even know it. So useless, completely useless beyond 99. You only need to know 1 to 10, and then 20, 30, 40, 60, 70, 80, 90 at the most, even if you want to know every single pure Korean number. So let's learn those. I'm going to show you 20 is sumur. So we have sumur for 20, and then 30 is 서른. So this is 20 here and 30 here. I'll also teach 40. I'll just go ahead and teach 40. 마흔. But after 40, just switch back to Sino-Korean. So although there is a 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90, most of the time they are not used. Even though you want it, even if you're normally supposed to use pure Korean numbers for something, like say you wanted to say 70 hours, right? Or 70 o'clock, right? It doesn't make any sense. But no matter what you're trying to count, or normally, even if you're supposed to use pure Korean numbers, you do not need any pure Korean number beyond 40, and maybe even beyond 30 if you want. If you actually stop at 30 and then switch to Sino-Korean numbers above 39, like you say 40 as 40 instead of doing this, it's perfectly fine. You'll be okay. Depending on the Korean, some Koreans will stop counting at 39. Some Koreans will go to 49. It kind of varies, but most people will at least stop after 40-ish. They're not going to keep counting beyond 40. So you won't need to learn beyond this. So, 스물. So if you want to say the number 27, well, normally with Sino-Korean, you would say, oh, it's two tens. So, 27. But if you wanted to say this with Sino-Korean numbers, well, there actually is a 20 counter, and it's 스물 일곱. That's how it works. And same with 30. When you get to 30, you want to say, oh, 33. Well, it's not 310. It's just 30, 서른, 셋, 서른 셋. So, with that said, for age, they exclusive. Yes, we'll talk about what they're used for really soon. How do you say someone is 101 years old? They would use Sino-Korean. They would not use this, pure Korean. So some people are already asking, oh, don't you use pure Korean numbers for age? Yes, you do, but not beyond 49. And definitely not beyond 99. Even if you wanted to be fancy and impress Koreans and you say the Korean number for 99, he's 99 years old. Well, as soon as that dude turns 100, he becomes Baek again. There is no pure Korean number for 100 beyond there. So as soon as they get that old, you just switch. And in fact, most people just switch when they hit 50. You call 50 for the age. And I'll tell you the counter for that. But it's not, you don't need to use this one beyond there. So, 스물, 서른, 마흔. So with that, I'd like to give you guys 3 questions. How would you write in pure Korean these numbers? 12, 20, and 36. Try to write these. 12, 20, and 36. Yes, 50 minutes late. That's right. So I'm going to try to, I'll still go through the uses though. We just won't go into too much detail, but I still will cover how to do counters. Someone's 48. Well, you could use pure or you can use Sino at that point. Typically, if you know the number, they'll use pure Korean numbers up until 49. But you can get away with stopping at 39. 12. Yep. 20. 36. Nice. Captain, Amaryllis. 12. Captain Magic. That's right. 12. 36. That's right. 12. I feel like this time you guys have got a little bit faster than the first time. So you're kind of understanding how Korean works with like the set of numbers, like the tens, and how pure Korean uses 10, 20, 30, 40 separately. So you don't even have to worry about like not adding a 1 before it or anything like that, because they just have completely different numbers for this. What that means is 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. With a few exceptions we'll learn after this. There's only there's only 13 new numbers you have to learn the entire pure Korean number system, with a few exceptions, which we'll talk about. But it's much simpler than Sino-Korean, where you have to learn 1 through 10, 100, 1000. You have to learn all these different special rules for using it. Pure Korean is a little more similar to the way we count in English. That's right, Tsubaki. Stephanie 101, I'm so confused. You might not know the Korean alphabet, which is why you're confused. So don't worry about it. 열둘, 스물. 10E, you have a typo for 20. And a typo for 6, for 36. But I'm pretty sure those are just typos because the keys are close to each other. Okay, so I said a couple times there are some exceptions, and we'll talk about that. When we're using this, so how is this used, first of all? Well, one thing is that this is used for counting hours, specifically time, like to say o'clock. So you want to say it's 7 o'clock, right? 7 o'clock and 12 minutes. Well, we just learned before we used the minutes with the Sino-Korean. So we have 12 would be 12분, okay? But now we have to say 7 o'clock. Well, to say o'clock, that's the counter 시. So 7 is 일곱. 7시. 7 o'clock. Perfect, right? Super easy. But there is an exception that you have to learn, and that's for the numbers 1 to 4. The numbers 1 to 4 change whenever they are used before any sort of noun, specifically any counter. So anytime you're using the numbers 1 through 4, and 20 actually, I believe that's it. Yeah, 1 to 4 and 20, you have to learn a slightly different version of these numbers. So let me show you what that means. You want to say it's 1 o'clock, right? So I told you the counter is 시. So you would say the number, which is 하나, 1, and then 시. But 1 o'clock is not 하나시. Same with 2, 3, and 4. 2 o'clock is not 둘시. 3 o'clock is not 셋시, and not 넷시. And 20 something is not 스물. We'll talk about that next too. But for right now, 1 through 4. In order to use 1 through 4 before a noun or counter, this is not that difficult. So don't stress if you're worried like, oh no, this is very simple actually. 하나 becomes 한. That's it. So if you want to say 1 o'clock, it's 한시. If you want to say 2 o'clock, well, 2 becomes 두. So this is actually the same as English. 2, in Korean, they say 두. So that's the easiest one in my opinion, 2. But it's not tur. Tur is when you're just counting. But if you put it before a counter and you actually use it before a noun, so here it's 시 is o'clock. This is a counter. So you're using it with the counter, it has to become 두. 3 is 세. So normally 3 is 셋. All you do is remove the letter at the bottom. And 4 is 넷. Normally it's 넷. And all you do is remove the thing at the bottom. So I hope that if you look at this, you can see that they're not changing that much. The one that changes the most is 하나 becoming 한. Make that clearer. 하나 becoming 한 is the only one that actually really changes. The other ones just drop the letter at the bottom. So 둘 drops the lir at the bottom, the letter at the bottom. 셋 and 넷 also drop the letter at the bottom. And that's it. So once you do that, you're done. So we have 한시, 두시, 3시, 4시. And if you accidentally said 둘시, they would definitely understand you. If you said 하나시, they would understand you too. But that's how it works. So anytime they're used with a counter, and we'll learn about some more counters soon, you have to change it to 한, 두, 세, and 넷. One more I'll tell you in advance is 20 also does this, but that's it. You don't have to do this for 30 or 40 or anything else. 1 to 4 and 20. So 20 becomes also 스무. And that's it. So there's nothing crazy about this. You just remove it normally had the lier at the bottom, 스물. You just remove that. So now we have 스무. You're done. So if you want to say 20 people, well, we'll learn that the counter for people is 명. We'll talk about that soon. So it's 스무 명 is 20. But if you want to say 21, it's only for the number 20 by itself. If you say 스물 한 명. So now it just goes back to 21. It's just 20. It doesn't change for every time you use it. It's only when the number is just exactly 20 or just exactly 1 to 4. That's it. So only these 5 exact situations you have to change the number, change how it's said. And if you accidentally keep using, like I said, if you accidentally keep using the original ones, they're still going to understand you. It's not going to be a huge deal. So make a note of this, but don't stress about it. It's okay. It's not a huge mistake if you don't do it. It's wrong, but it's not gonna kill you. Okay, let me check the chat for just a minute. Any inside information on why the first 4 are changed? Yes, the first one anyway is used so commonly before a word that saying 하나 before something is just long. So it came shortened to 한, just to make it sound faster to read. The other ones have to do with sound change rules. If you're saying this letter, if you want to really know, this is advanced more, so I don't think you need to learn about this, but this letter often disappears whenever it's used as an adjective. This is saying my battery is running low. Hope it's okay. I don't know how much time I have left on this battery. Hold on one moment. Let me just plug in my spare battery. Just give me a minute. Because I charged it last night, but I think my kid came in the room and turned off my charger at night. So when I checked this just right before the stream was starting, I noticed that the laptop was already low. So I was like, oh no. So I'm just going to blame it on him. I'm not really sure if it was him or if it was me though. Okay, it is charging. Hopefully that will be okay. But if there's any issues, okay. So yeah, so as I was saying is that this letter often gets removed whenever the word before in front of it, whenever it's being used as an adjective, so before a word. This is in the same thing for like verbs that end in it, like not. Natta is another verb. And whenever it's conjugated, this goes away. It's a placeholder. It's a placeholder that says that the word should end with the sound, not. So again, this is advanced. You can ignore this if you're a beginner. It's a placeholder that says the word should end with the sound, not. But that whenever it's actually used in a conversation, whenever it's actually used as an adjective, it goes away. So it's just a placeholder. So that's why it's removed from those three. And same with the lier. The lier actually gets removed due to how easy it is for this to get disrupted. I could go into that if we do a sound change rules lesson. Kylie, wow. Awesome. Thank you, Kylie. Wow, $10. Dang. I'm going to use that to buy like a new mirror for my stream because I have like an old mirror that I'm using. I want to get a new one. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Wow, nice. That's like getting 2 members almost. Almost, yes. But thank you. So yes, so mainly just 1 to 4 is all you have to worry about. So now let's talk about how is this used? So what uses does the pure Korean number system have? Can you say the numbers again from 11? Well, 11 would just be 10, 1. Yes, there is AM and PM. As the user with the language in their name that I can't read it, they wrote 오전 and 오후. 오전 is AM and 오후 is PM. Literally, 오 means noon. It's a Chinese word. 전 means before, so it's before noon, and then noon afternoon. So 오전 and 오후. So when is it used? Well, uses, first of all, is it's used for telling the time. So you can do that with, as I said, you can use that with time with she, or if you want to say 30 minutes, you can say, actually, you can just say 반. 반 means a half. So if you want to say it's 3:30, you can say 3시 반. Or you can say 3시 30분 with the Sino-Korean numbers, just like we learned before. Both of those are completely acceptable. That's why I was wondering what the O was for. Oh, I see. Is there a quarter? No, there's no quarter. They would just say 15. They would just say 15 minutes for a quarter. So 15분 for a quarter, or 45분 for 45, like quarter till. There's no quarters for that. Just 반 if you want to say half. So for time, the next thing that it's used really common with is people, for counting people, animals, and things. By this, I mean anything physical, any physical things, anything that you can touch is counted with pure Korean numbers. So I said that for Sino-Korean, we could count the days, the month, the years, right? Money, the amount of money, not the actual dollar papers, not the actual pieces of paper you have or the actual coins you have. Those would be counted with pure Korean. But if you want to count the amount of money you have, you're measuring something, a phone number, a date, a number of something. Those are not physical. You cannot actually touch the number of days, the number of years, but you can actually touch how many people they're physically there, how many animals, how many things, any sort of thing. So these physical things are counted with pure Korean numbers. To count people, they use the counter 명. To count animals, any animal, they use 마리. Mada. I feel like I'm thinking something different than I'm writing. And to count things, well, there's a lot of counters you can use for things. So I'll talk about that next. First of all, hours, it's pure. That's right, from hours. So I said for physical things, time is an exception because time is hours, but every other physical thing can be counted with this. And we'll talk about some other things that aren't physical that you can count with pure Korean. But think about this. Can I count that thing by actually touching it? Like, could I line them up? If I had a big enough room, could I line them up and count them? If the answer is yes, you will use pure Korean to count it. Pretty much like all the time. If no, oh, I couldn't count it if I lined it up, then it might use Sino-Korean. There are some exceptions, but it might use Sino-Korean. Sino-Korean typically is for the non-physical things. So, 명, if you want to say 5 people, it's just 다섯 명. Okay? 5 people. If you want to say 10 people, it's 열 명. Now, I should make a point that these are only counters. 시, 명, 마리. These are only counters. You cannot say 시 for o'clock outside of counting with it. So you can't just say like 지금 무슨 시예요? Like at what time is it right now? You can't use it like that. These are not regular nouns. These are only counters. You can't say 저는 명이에요. I am a 명. You can't say that. That makes no sense because 명 is only a counter for counting people. You can think of 명 as being similar to English, how we'd say head. Like, how many heads are there here? Do I have all your heads, right? For counting people. Or I counted 4 heads. Kind of like that. It doesn't mean people. It's just a counter used for people. But if you use it by itself, it could sound like it's a different word entirely and it wouldn't make any sense. So only use these words when you're actually counting, not just if you want to say the word people. Like mari does not mean animal. It's not a pure Korean word that means animal. It's only a counter for animals. So 10명, 10 people. So what if you wanted to say 100 people or 70 people, right? You want to say 70 people. Well, you could learn that the pure Korean number for 70 is actually ilhun. We're not going to talk about that though, but there is a 70. And some people might know it, but most people don't use it. You would just say, go back to Sino-Korean now. So 70, 70명, 70 people. But as soon as you go below 50 or below 40, you have to go back to pure Korean. So if you wanted to say 12 people, you cannot say 12명. You cannot use Sino-Korean for anything below 50, anything below 40. 100% you will sound really weird especially if you're using it below 40. So you can get away with it below 50, but especially below 40, you must use the pure Korean number. So you can't say 12명, it would sound really weird. You have to say 열, and then 2, which is 두, normally 둘, right? But since we're using this with a counter, 2명. So I have let's say next thing then is animal is mari. So if you wanted to say there's one cow, you say 한 마리. 한 마리 is one animal. And if you want to specify what the animal is, you put that in front. So for cow is 소. So you would say 소 한 마리, cow one. It goes backward from English. You don't say 한 소 or 한 마리 소. It's the animal first, or whatever you're counting first, counter first, followed by the number, counter, whatever you're counting. I shouldn't write counter, that can be confusing. Counter is this. Whatever you're counting here, the counting noun, so whether that's a person or an animal or whatever, the number of it, and then the counter. So learn this order right here. The noun that you're counting, the number of that, the quantity, and then a counter. So if you want to count bats, you want to count rats. So 쥐 is mouse or rat. So 쥐, let's say five mice. 다섯 마리. Mice, 5 of them. 5 counters. So remember this order. The noun, the number, then the counter. I'm going to quiz you on it. So you should write it down if you're not familiar with it. Next thing is, for counting things, there's a lot of counters for things. The most general way to count an object of something is K. K. This is to count a thing. So if you don't know what you should count it with, you can just use K. So like I have 5 light bulbs. I have 1 cell phone. This is a table. I have 1 battery. Any object, you can count it with K. You can be more specific by using other counters, which I'll teach you about next, but at least know K. So if you wanted to say, I have 2 pencils, well, pencil is 연필 2개. And then 있어요, I have, or I want to buy, 사고 싶어요. 사고 싶어요. Okay, thanks guys. Maybe one day I'll have it doesn't crash. Okay. The next thing you can count. So I want to give you some more specifics about this. If you're counting bottles of something, you can use 병. For example, if you want to count, like I have 1 bottle of soda, you wouldn't say soda, the object, and then 2개 or 한 개, one of them. You would want to use bottle. So if there is a counter for counting something, it's best to use that counter. If you want to say I have 2 cows and you accidentally use K for cows, it sounds weird because K is only for counting general things, just things in general, not for something specific, not for animals, and certainly not for people. So 병 is for a bottle. So if you have a bottle of something, you can also use cup for a cup of something. Now, this is just like English. You can have a dozen of something. I mean, sorry, you can have a bottle of something, a bag of something, a bucket of something, a pile of something, a piece of something, a slice of something, right? You can have all of these things of somethings in English, and Korean has a lot of those too. Not quite as many, but bottle, cup, 잔 is a glass. And this is only, 접시 is for a plate. Now this is only for food items, right? So in English, you might have a different type of thing for a different type of thing for any noun that you want to say. Korean, you can kind of do that too. So if you want to say I have a cup of something, you can say 한 cup, one cup, or cup. You can say if you want to say I have one cup of tea, you'd say 차, which is tea, and then 한 cup. Tea, one cup, like that. Or whatever you want to say. So I'm not going to cover all of the different possible counters you can do, and there would be a lot, but I do want to cover some of the most common ones. So I did bottle. I think bottle's pretty common. Let me think. Ah, yes, 장. 장 is a sheet of something, usually like paper or something. So it's also for t-shirts. The reason is because when you buy a t-shirt, when you print it, it's all flat, right? Completely flat. So they would also call that 장. So 장 you can use to count a sheet of paper. So if you have a book and you want to know, you say, oh, the book has 350 pages. Well, you would use 장 to say sheets. So you would say 500 장. And this, as you know, there is no 500 pure Korean, so you just say 500. 500장. Let's see. 장권. Books. So if you want to say, I have 3 books, you would say 책 3권. Book, 3 books, like that. 권 is for counting books. Let's see, what other really useful counters should we know? There's really a lot, because there's a counter for trees, which is, you don't need to use the counter for tree though. There's some other counters, like there's a specific counter for appliance or a car. There's a specific counter for a pizza, a whole pizza, a slice of pizza. There's a counter for pairs of socks. There's a counter for suits. There's a counter for a lot of these things, but I think you can get away with using K for a lot of them if you're not quite sure. And if it's your first time learning this, I would rather not overwhelm you with counters, because I could probably think of about a dozen that are really useful to know, but they're not as essential as just understanding the basics. So I'm going to stop right here for this part of the lesson, and I want to give you guys some questions. So let me just remove these. So I want you guys to answer me these questions. How would I say these 3 things? The first one is 10 sheets of paper. Now, paper in Korean is 종이. So I'll tell you that. 종이. So you'll need to use 종이. 100 books. And then 3 bears. Now, bear is 곰. So 3 bears. So how would you say these? How would you say these 3 things in Korean? Go ahead and try that out in the chat. 종이 10장. Nice. And really fast, Shubin. 종이 10장. 종이 10장. 전전 Jungle Book. Nope. This is the pure Korean. 10 would be the Sino-Korean. 종이 10장. 책 100권. 곰 3마리. Nice. Emeriliz. Perfect. Nice. Rody AMR. Don't worry if you can't. Don't worry if you can't. This is something that, although it's 2 hours, the 2 hours is not enough time to completely cover this. This is actually a very long lesson that I'm compacting into only 2 hours or less. And I'm going to try to stop after 10 minutes. That way we don't go over today. 종이 10장. 책 100권. teach people about spacing. Spacing, if we did spacing, that would be a whole other episode because spacing rules are very complex in Korean. But if you want to do spacing, simply space the number from the counter and every individual noun in Korean. So don't write things all together. So if you have like the thing you're counting, the number, and then the counter, make sure there's a space between these. A space between the thing, space between the number, and the space between the counter. And that'll be the most basic spacing rule that you can use for this. Don't put them all together. So just remember that. Put a space separating each of those parts. There are some more spacing rules to it, but the spacing rules are not as important as knowing how to use it. After you know how to use this, then you can learn spacing. 종이 10장, 책 100권, 곰 3마리. Nice. Yeah, don't you know 곰 3마리 한 집에 있어? That song? 아빠 곰, 엄마 곰, 애기 곰. 아빠 곰은 뚱뚱해, 엄마 곰은 날씬해, 애기 곰은 너무 귀여워, 으스 으스 잘한다. Okay, I think you guys have gotten it. So that's all I'm going into for counters for that because there's actually a lot we could go into. One more thing I wanted to teach about, and like I said, we could go into a lot more counters and stuff, but it's not as important. But I will give you a few more really quick. Okay, you can just write these down. And I'm not going to give examples of them. Sorry, that was really bad. 켤레 is for a pair of socks or pair of something. Pair of socks is most common. Socks or pair of shoes. Specifically for a pair of them. Not just one. 볼. I don't know if I should really go into all of those. Let's see. Oh, yeah. This one is really good. 번. 번 is for a number of times. Now, if you do something a number of times, you don't need to use something that you're counting. So for this one, like counting the number of it and the counter, you're not counting anything. You're simply using this as an adverb. Like I did it 2 times. You would just say 2 times, I did it. You don't have to say experience or the thing I did or anything like that before. There is no word that you're counting. It's simply whatever the action is. So you only have to use this like number of times you did it with 번. That's it. So you can say 2번, twice, 3번, 3 times, 10번, 10 times, 100번, 100 times, 1000번, 1000 times, just like that. This one's also really useful. So you can say, oh, I learned this 20 times. Well, I learned that 20번, 20 times, just like that. I learned this 4 times. 이거, this, 4번. 배웠어요. 배우다, to learn, to learn. So to learn this 2 times. I learned this 2 times. 배웠어요, in past tense. So you can use that any way you'd like. But 번 is also another really useful. Okay, then the next thing is ordinal numbers. So let me erase this. The next thing it's used for is ordinal numbers. And by ordinal, I don't even need to write ordinal. I'll just write it like this. First, second, third, these numbers. These are called ordinal numbers. Now, in English, you have to learn first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th, 11th, 12th, all those different words, 20th. Korean, all you do is you take a pure Korean number and you attach 번째. 번째. Let me write that a little clearer. 번째. 번째, that gives you, so 두 번째 would be the second, third would be 세 번째. But now this is an exception, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because first is not 한 번째. First, this is the only time where you do not say, when you're counting it with 번째, you will not say 하나 or 한, you'll use 첫. 첫 by itself means first. So this is a different pure Korean word, a pure Korean adjective. that means first. So you'd say 첫 번째 for first time. Everything else though is 두 번째, 세 번째, 네 번째, like that. You might not even use this if you're still a beginner. You won't be able to make sentences with this yet, but at least be aware of it. If you see 번째, that's what it means. Yes, there are dozens and dozens of counters. You don't really need to learn all of them though. Like I said, there's a counter for, there's one called 자루, which is for actually things like a long brush or a long pencil. Anything that's long and thin can be counted with 자루. But you don't need to necessarily use it. You should know it eventually, but it's not a beginning thing. And I think it's just confusing to have to learn, like kuru is the counter for trees. I think it's kind of confusing to have to learn all of these different types of counters. I'll write some of them up just so in case you're really curious. 대 is for appliances, like a washing machine or any sort of big, large appliance, computers, stuff like that. 조각 is for a piece of something. It's like a piece of pizza. A pizza itself can be 판, which means like a pan, a big pan of pizza. 판. Let's see if I'm missing any. Oh, words. You can count individual words with 마디, not 마디 for animals, but 마디. So you can say it has it's a three-word essay. 세 마디 essay, or essay 세 마디, three words or whatever, or 한 마디, one word. Like you can say, if you want to say that in one word, you use 한 마디 for one word part. And then that's pretty much it. Like there's other ones, but like I said, don't stress about learning all of them because you'll learn them as you learn the vocabulary for that. Like if you don't even know how to say refrigerator, you don't need to learn how to count appliances yet. Like if you're not counting trees, you don't need to learn how to count trees. If you don't think you're going to be counting trees. I rarely, if ever, have used the tree counting counter. So it's not really something that's that common, but the ones that I did teach are very common, as well as this is very common too. Oh, and then the other thing is when you're taking photos, the final thing. When you're taking photos, people will count with pure Korean numbers and not Sino-Korean. They won't say 1, 2, 3. They won't say that. They'll say 하나, 둘, 셋, and then take a photo. So that's it. That's the other thing you should know, is that when people are counting to take photos, they'll use this one as well. Phew, I think I did it. I think we're good for this lesson, mostly. So we've covered the basics, the basics of pure Korean and Sino-Korean numbers. And I have a quick quiz for you. And that is, oh, actually, first of all, I have a request for the moderators in here. Moderators, can you find out from people what they want to learn for next week? So in the chat, please write down if you have a special request you'd like to learn for next week. And I'll ask that whoever's moderating here, can you check just to see if things get repeated a lot? So if there's a topic that gets repeated a lot in the chat, then let me know in the Discord chat and I'll try to add it to the voting for the next week. So I want to do whatever people want for most. So whatever you would like to hear next week for the lesson, put it in the channel chat box and we'll compile what people are requesting the most. And that's what we'll do for the next video for next week. Well, we'll do a voting on it. So, okay. And then in the meantime, I'm going to write. Yeah, you don't have to write. You don't have to, moderators, you don't have to write down everything they're saying. Just kind of keep track if there's some things that a lot of people suggest. Okay. So first of all is a quiz on Sino-Korean and then a quiz on pure Korean. So for the Sino-Korean, I would like you guys to, while you're writing down what you'd like to learn for next week, for Sino-Korean, how would you read these following numbers in Sino-Korean? 210, 7,050. Oops, that looks bad. 7,050. 15,000. And then for pure Korean, how would you read these numbers in pure Korean? Okay, so in Sino-Korean first, we'll do Sino-Korean first. So how would you read these numbers in Sino-Korean? You can go ahead and write these down also, and I'm going to check them. Yeah, NZ Guri, there is a Discord, of course. I've announced it like 10 times every stream. Yes, there's a Discord, it's very active. If you're a member and if you're a sponsor on this YouTube channel, so if you clicked the join button, then send me a message in the Discord chat and I'll give you a special member ability, which lets you access an extra channel, a couple extra channels, and you get like some small benefits from that. 26, 201, 210. You guys are fast. 7050, 1500. No, you're so close. Amaryllis, you're so close to being the first to get them all right. But Andreas beat you because he got them all right. Right below. You just had a typo. You wrote Man Obek for this one, but this one's the 1000. Yes, I think you guys have got it. Okay. Okay, thanks, Zilly. Yeah, if you guys have any requests, you can feel free to ping either Zilly or one of the other people, or you can just come in the Discord and make your request too. So, first one, 26 is 210, 6, so 20, and then 6, 6. 210 is 200, so 200. Then there's no tens, there's no 0 tens, so it's just 1. 210 is again 200. Now we have 10 here, so 10. 7050 is 7000, which is 7000. And then there's no hundreds, so we can skip that. Then 50, which is 50, 5 tens. Again here, 15,000. So we need 15,000, but actually what we have is 10,000 first. So we have man. Now we're left with 5,000, which is just 5 thousands, or 5,000, 15,000. Okay. Now let's go to pure Korean. If you missed some of those, try to decide for yourself if you missed it because it was a typo, like you did it too quickly, or if you missed it because you really didn't understand one of the concepts. I think making mistakes is totally fine, and everyone should make mistakes, and everyone will, but make sure you know why you made that mistake after, because if you just make the mistake and you think, oh, I guess I messed up, and you don't realize why you made that mistake, you're going to make that exact same mistake again and again and again and again and again. But if you stop and think, oh, wait, why did I make that mistake? Oh, it's this. That's okay. Even if you keep making that mistake, at least you will eventually not make that mistake anymore if you think about why you messed up. Okay. So for Korean numbers, pure Korean numbers, 12 is, we have 10, 열, and then 2, 둘, 열둘, 12. For 23, we have 20, 스물, 3, 셋. For 20, we just have 스물. Okay? For 21, we just have 스물 하나. So all these top ones were just designed to be very simple, just kind of give you a refresher of some of the numbers. So next we have 31 cats. So how do we say 31 cats? Well, remember again, we first say what we're counting. Then we say the number of those that we're counting. And then we say the counter. So the counter for, first what we're counting is, we're counting cats. So which is 고양이 in Korean. I hope you know the word 고양이. If you don't, cat is 고양이. The number of them is 31. So how do we say 31 in Korean? Yes. Oh, sorry, I didn't tell you guys to start on this yet. I didn't give you time to do these ones. Before I go over this, try to go ahead and write these in the chat again. I want to make sure I give you guys enough time to try this for yourself. So 31 cats, 50 people. I'll add one more. There's one I forgot. Oh, that's right. That's right. I skipped one on my list. I'm going to tell you this. This is one that I skipped. I actually should not have skipped this one. It's a very important one. The counter for your age. is done with pure Korean numbers. How old are you? And that's with 살. You don't need to learn any special new numbers with this other than to count your age, it's 살. So I am currently in Korean age, I'm older than I'm in American age, but let's just say I'm 20. I'm not. But let's just say I'm 20. Well, 20살. Or if you're 21, 21살. Okay. Again, once you get over 49, or at least 49, but maybe even 39. Okay, thanks guys. We're almost done though. Fortunately, we still have a few minutes left. So what I want you to do for the practice is how to say 31 cats, how to say 50 people, and then I want you to say your age. But for this, and you can, if you don't want to say your real age, just make up a different age. So don't worry about that. If you don't want to say your real age, just pretend you're a different age for today. I want you to say your age. For this, once you go above 39 or 49, normally for all the other counters, all you do is you switch to Sino-Korean numbers. Not with 살. 살 is only used with pure Korean numbers. If you want to say anything higher than 39 or 49, you not only switch to Sino-Korean, but you also switch to a different counter, which is 세. So if you want to say someone is 49, you can say 49, 49, 49살, or 39, 39살. But if you want to say that same person is 50, 50, 5, 10, so 50, 50세. 세. They do not use 살 once they switch to using Sino-Korean numbers. This is the only exception for the counters that you need to know, that you don't say 살 when you switch it. So I want you to write in the chat, 갱이, Retro, you don't have to show off. 갱이 31마리. 갱이 is more like dialect though, so I don't know if you'd want to use it. 사람 50명, 50세. Retro, are you 50? I don't think you're 50. 고양이 31마리. Okay? Nice. 50명, 25살. Nice, nice. 고양이 31마리. Okay? 열둘, 서른셋. 고양이 31마리, 50명, 20살이에요. Oh, 이에요. There is no such thing as 이에요. The 이에 doesn't exist. There's only 이에요 if it ends in a consonant, or if it ends in a vowel, it's just 예요. There is no 이에요. It's just 이에요 or 예요. That's it. For Joanna Koala. Other than that, you're perfect. 25살이에요. Same thing for KHOU, Cloud Zaidi. (28살이에요) Nice. Go 바둑. Oh, Abby, you have this wrong. So first what you're counting, then the number of that you're counting, and then the counter. So you guys got it. Most of you guys have it. So 고양이 first. Then how many? There's 31, and then the counter is 마리. 마리. 고양이 31마리. And that's how you count any object, whether it's books or pieces of paper. You don't need to count age like that, because when you're counting your age, there is no thing that you're counting. You're not counting anything. So it's not a physical object. This is only when there's a physical object. As I said before, when pure Korean is used for everything you're counting physical has to be counted with pure Korean numbers. If there's no physical object, you don't need to specify it here. So if you're counting how many things, there is a physical object, you should say what it is you're counting. But if you're just counting animals, you don't need to, if you're counting your age, you don't need to say that because there is no physical thing that you're counting. I realized after I typed it. Nice. Okay. Do you have to say 사람? No. Another thing is, when you're counting people, we're actually done with the lesson, but I should add this. When you're counting people, you might think, so I'm counting, let's say 50 people. You might think, oh, what am I counting? I'm counting people. 사람, right? 50 would be 50 here because it's over 49. And then 명. While this is correct, most of the time, it's not necessary to say what it is you're counting if it's already clear what you're counting. Oh, let me say that again. If it's clear you're counting people with this counter, if it's clear you're counting cats when you say mari, you do not need to say this, what you're counting. So this is optional. With people, with the counter 명, it is only used for counting people. It is only used for counting people. You do not need to say 사람 50명. You can just say 50명. You can say 사람 50명 if you want to specify I counted 50 people, but just using this counter in the first place is already showing them you're counting people. So when you're counting people, it's optional to say 사람. In fact, I would recommend not using it once you get familiar with this structure, but I'm including it in the lessons for today because I want people to really understand this is how it's supposed to be organized. And then later when you learn, like if you're making a sentence that's really clear what it is you're counting, like you might say, maybe the topic of your conversation is cats, and you want to say, oh, I have 5 cats. You don't need to say necessarily in English, I have 5 cats, right? You can just say, I have 5, and they know what you're talking about. They know you're talking about cats, especially because you would use the counter mari for animal. So they would know you're talking about an animal, so it's totally unnecessary to say 고양이 if it's already clear you're talking about cats. And the same thing with people. They already know you're talking about people. It's unnecessary to say people, 50 of them, when you can just say 50 people. I mean 50 명, like that. So I hope this clears it up. 저는 13살입니다. I am 13. Yes, that's exactly correct. Even correct, you change the 3 to the right one too. Do you have a video on sentence structure? Nina Nicole, yes, I have a 2.5-hour live stream on sentence structure. Nice. Okay, so that's it for the lesson today. I have one more suggestion I'd like to make. So if you're writing down like crazy everything on your notebook today, and you're thinking, oh, I got to learn these, I have to practice these. How can I practice these Korean numbers? And how can I practice Sino and pure Korean numbers? I've got the best method for you guys to practice. And it's the best method because it doesn't take any extra effort. Do you have stairs anywhere next to your house? Anywhere near your house? Anywhere near your school? You do. Your workplace? There are stairs somewhere in your life, whether that's inside of your house, whether that's at your friends, going to your friend's house, walking to school, walking around your workplace, somewhere you have stairs in your life. If you're handicapped, I apologize. Just practice by counting something in your head. But if you walk upstairs or walk downstairs, every step you take, try to think of the Korean number for that step. So for 1, you would say 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱. Like that. There doesn't have to be that many steps. Just practicing from 1 to 10 is actually very useful for counting for both Sino-Korean and pure Korean. And a lot of places will have 10 steps or more. If you're fortunate to live next to a place that has a lot of steps, you can count a lot. And then when you go back down, try counting with a different number system. You can still try practicing counting up. You don't have to practice counting down because trying to memorize the numbers down is going to be tricky, but you can still try counting again, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that, counting back down. This is, I say this is the easiest method because it doesn't take any extra work on your part. You're already going to have to walk up or down these stairs anyway. Might as well just say it in your head and make it kind of fun. So that way you're kind of looking forward to the stairs. You're like, oh, those stairs are over there. I'm going to count when I walk up those stairs. So yeah, that's how I practiced anywhere a lot when I was walking around Korea. Anytime I came up the stairs, in my head, I'd be like, 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷. 다섯, 여섯, 일곱. Look up my dictionary. 여덟, 아홉, and do that. And you'll get really good at it because you'll want to keep going up the stairs faster and faster. You don't want people looking at you. So you'll get better at doing these numbers. And once you know 1 to 10, for the most part, you're good for both number systems. Anyway, I kept this lesson just at 2 hours if we don't include the Discord announcement. Thank you again for coming. Moderator, if you would please post the Discord link one more time. And, oh, that was fast. Thank you. Thank you very much, Zilly. You're on the ball. If you guys haven't already, check out the Discord chat. It's completely free. If you're a member on YouTube, like if you clicked the join button and you're a member, then message me on Discord and you will get some special member features there. You can access a member's chat room and there's a member voice chat too. And anyway, the chat though is completely free. Hope to see some more of you over there. Thanks for coming again to this live stream. I'll put another vote for next week's class, probably Tuesday. So check the community tab on my channel for what you guys want to learn next time. And yeah. Take care, everyone. I'll see you guys next time. I'm going to look at your comments for just another minute, and then I'm going to close the chat. DS on wrote minus temperature is 영하. Yes. 영하 comes from Chinese. So this is if you want to say like -5 degrees Celsius. So you said do is Celsius. So if you want to say 5 degrees Celsius, it would be 5 도. If you want to say negative, you'd say 영하. Ha is a Chinese character, means below. So below, and 0, 영. 영 means 0, as I quickly explained earlier. So below 0, 5 degrees. That's how they'd say it. And there's no need to specify above 0 though, but there is another word, 영상, for above 0. What is 공? 공 is simply a Korean word. Means ball or hole. This probably could come from hole, but this is used to mean 0 in more of a casual sense. So this isn't the number you would use when you're doing your math equations. This would be when you're just speaking, like, oh, what's the how much is it or whatever? What's the price? You 공 for 0. It's the same meaning as 영, but 영 is a Sino-Korean and 공 is just a regular pure Korean word as well as being used as a number. It's also where you get the word 공짜, which means free. Literally means 0 character, for free, for nothing. A lot of you are asking for sound change rules. Just so you know, I'm happy doing sound change rules, but it would be an intermediate lesson. It would not be a beginner lesson so much because in order to use sound change rules, you already have to be good at the alphabet, and you already have to be okay at some basic grammar to be able to need those sound change rules. Today's lesson was, I'd say, beginner level, with a little bit of intermediate stuff for a few questions people asked, but mainly just beginner. Oh yeah, and if you want to know, I will write the other numbers for 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. You can write them down really quickly. 50 is shin. 60 is 예순. 70 is 일흔. 80, I was able to complete my notes. Nice. Anyway, 80 is 여든, and 90 is ahın. But like I said, you don't necessarily need these. If you use them, it's kind of like you're not just showing off to a Korean if you're using them. It's usually just unnecessary. So you don't have to learn them and think, oh, I'm going to look great to a Korean that I'll use these. No. If you want to show off and be able to recognize them, you don't need to use them to show off. Because like I said, they're not used as much as just Sino-Korean is at this point, especially 60, like really above 60, you don't hear these too much. There used to be numbers for 100 and 1,000 and higher in pure Korean. Like I said, on was 100. 1,000 was, I think it was jumun. Let me just check. Yeah, jumun. 1,000. But these are things that no one in Korea knows unless they're like a scholar of ancient Korean. So do not learn them. Well, do not use them, I should say. You can learn whatever you want, but do not use them. So yeah, these ones are okay. You can definitely, it's useful to know them, but you don't need to memorize them. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for coming, guys. I'll see you again next time. If you have any more Korean questions, please come to the Discord. You can feel free to ask questions all day. There will always be people to answer you. Take care. 그럼 다음에 또 봐. Keycat. I think we had a good stream. Let's close it down for these people. Okay. Yeah. It's the that button right there. Oh, it's good. You remember this time. Okay. Yeah, and I'll push the O. The OK. Okay.